What's good, YouTube? Welcome back. Today it is the LazyDaze Channel, and we're back at it again with some more history reaction for you guys today. And it is some more History Marshes content for you guys, and it is their series Hannibal, the Second Punic Wars, and we are on the Battle of Hibera, 215 BC. Yeah, we're really enjoying this series. Hannibal History Marche makes amazing content. It's been a minute since we've watched it, so we're looking forward to just jumping back in. We got 3 episodes until we're all caught up, until we sort of doing these weekly drops. So I'm looking forward to being all caught up and then seeing what else we can get into, other suggestions that you guys have got for us. If you guys are enjoying our reactions, but before we get to that, if you haven't already, head over to History Marche's channel. The link's in the description box down below. If you're enjoying this reactions and future reactions, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, but we're going to jump straight into this one.
Let's do this.
Having received orders from Carthage to lead his army overland at the earliest opportunity and join his brother Hannibal in Italy, Hasdrubal Barca continued his preparations after crushing the Tartessi rebellion earlier in the year. But in a detailed report sent to the Senate, he insisted they send him a successor with a strong army to guard Carthaginian possessions in the Iberian Peninsula.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Hasdrubal asserted that even if all should
I
go
think it's more like Spain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
All those areas as well.
well, his successor in Iberia would not find it to be a peaceful province. This advice left a deep impression and received widespread support in the Carthaginian Senate. Throughout September and October, Himilco was put in charge of assembling an army of at least 20,000, along with an augmented fleet, and tasked with defending Iberia both by sea and land.
You imagine if that had gone to help Hannibal? Do you know what I mean? He's stuck on the Italian peninsula with like no naval defense or anything. And no grain.
Yeah, he could have cleaned house with that.
Well, not even if they had secured some kind of pathway to get grain to him to feed him.
Yeah,
and give him
anything could have given him that monumental boost.
Help, just simple help. Yeah.
Hasdrubal's assertions were not without merit. The stockpiling of provisions and the collection of tribute from the subjugated population to finance the upcoming campaign stirred up rumors that the Carthaginian army was leaving, which was enough to fan unrest among the locals. There was real danger that once Hasdrubal marched off to Italy, many of the tribes would either revolt or join the Romans.
No, I think they are going to... They're worried that if they do that...
Yeah, the dark green patch are the ones that are concerned.
Yeah.
So it's,
No. So the 2 leaders are concerned if they go to help Hannibal, the green area will revolt. And then basically
join Rome, right?
Kind of, or like just cause problems
in
here.
Late autumn 216 BC, signaling the start of the campaign to drive the Scipio brothers out of Iberia. By the time Hasdrubal received his reinforcements in Iberia, the 3rd winter of the war had set in, and the fighting in all theaters had subsided. But trouble was brewing in Sicily. The Greek cities across the north and northeast of the island broke away, seeing their chance to gain independence from Rome. Then, at the turn of the year, the elderly tyrant of Syracuse, Hieron II, had died. For 50 years he was a loyal ally of Rome, but now the crown passed to his 15-year-old grandson, Hieronymus. Hannibal's successes in Italy convinced the young ruler to open negotiations on how to divide Sicily. 2 envoys of Carthaginian Syracusan descent, Hippocrates and Epicides, came to Hieronymus, promising that the whole of Sicily will be a Syracusan possession. Internal political conflict raged for another 3 months, but the pro-Carthaginian faction eventually prevailed. Hieronymus joined Hannibal's side with an army of 15,000 and another 4,000 under the leadership of Hippocrates and Epicides. In addition, Carthaginian ships in the area were joined by the Syracusan fleet. Syracuse now threatened to tip the balance of the war.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not
Rome was rapidly...
Look how close Carthage and Sicily is. It just leads a pathway for the boats and just a lot of like grain can travel through easier and stuff like that.
15-year-old grandson as well, bro.
Yeah.
What's the name of Will and Kate's kid? The one... Oh, no, he's not getting the crown now, is he? Because they've been kicked out of the family.
the African coast. Furthermore, it served as a shield for Italy proper. Conversely, Carthage could now use the ports of Sicily to launch raids against Roman cities and more safely transport troops to southern Italy. The reinforcements that Hannibal was expecting could give him the resources for a finishing blow. And with some of the best Roman troops now at risk of being cut off, 2 of Appius Claudius's legions were withdrawn from Sicily back to mainland Italy, while the disgraced survivors of Cannae went the other way. Additional ships were sent to protect Sicily against a possible Carthaginian
Imagine
invasion,
passing that shit.
while the remaining...
Don't go! Don't do it! It's just a geezer waving his leg in the
air. What do you do if you're on the other ship going towards it? Do you go to the captain? I think they're trying to tell us something.
Stay your course, men. The captain is just like...
Yeah, literally.
I don't think you have the facilities for that, big man.
The squadrons patrolled Italy's coastal waters. It was then near Brundisium that a Macedonian ship was intercepted. The Romans boarded the ship, finding both Macedonian and Carthaginian diplomats, as well as documents that showed Hannibal and Philip were negotiating an alliance.
Oh no.
From those on board, the Romans learned that this was just one of many diplomatic missions between Hannibal and Philip. Marcus Valerius Lavinus was put in charge.
Your ship gets captured by the Romans. I'll tell you absolutely everything. What do you want to know?
You got any of that fresh rice?
Of Roman forces in Apulia to contain the Macedonian threat. Meanwhile, Marcellus was overwhelmingly voted as one of the consuls for the year 215, thanks to his action at Nola.
Okay.
Tiberius Sempronius Gracchus, another capable commander, was chosen as his colleague. However, the Senate disapproved of having 2 plebeian consuls, and they forced Marcellus to step aside in favor of Fabius Maximus, retaining the title of proconsul instead.
Okay.
With manpower depleted in some communities of Italy due to losses against Hannibal, Rome reverted to the Fabian strategy of avoiding conflict with the Carthaginian general. Many towns were hastily fortified, and the Roman Senate decreed that the crops be brought to walled cities to increase food stockpiles and deprive Hannibal of provisions that he could loot.
That's a real smart move by the Romans there.
It's a smart move, but then what happens if... What about the people you're taking it to, or taking it from, like the fields and that? Are they still going to get food, or...?
Yeah, so what happens, so you take it from the field, put it in the walled castles, and then what would happen is once word got out that, let's say here, once word got out that, I'll use the mouse just quickly, say once word got out that the Hannibal army entered here, all the people would go to the castle.
Okay,
so everyone would then go to the castle. That's why it's also a bit dangerous, and that's why you hear in a lot of sieges there's so many peasants, because what happens is all the peasants from the surrounding villages brought in to the castle walls for that protection, and then once the siege is over, you go out and you return to whatever's left.
You clean up.
So yeah.
Farmers who failed to comply faced confiscation of land and property, as well as immediate imprisonment and forced labor in the mines.
Oh, damn.
Just put me
Unable
up
to
against
dislodge
Hannibal,
Hannibal.
bruv.
Yeah.
You've taken everything anyway. I ain't gonna go work in a mine.
No, if I work in a mine. Ah.
And unwilling to meet him in battle, the Roman strategy was to contain him. With around 40,000 men at his disposal at Capua and another 20,000 under Hanno in Bruttium, Hannibal faced 100,000 Roman troops in southern Italy.
That's a lot.
In spring, Hannibal marched out of Capua, establishing his camp on Mount Tifata. This was a strong defensive position from where he was at hand to support his Italian allies and oppose the Roman generals in the area. The imposing mountains could be easily found by reinforcements and supplies coming from his Italian allies and Carthage. Across the Mediterranean, Hasdrubal completed the muster of his forces at New Carthage and moved north once more towards the Ebro.
Right.
Knowing that an arduous journey lay ahead, he made sure to levy enough funds to secure safe passage, purchase additional provisions, and hire Gallic warriors on his way to Italy.
Okay.
But at the fore was the destruction of the Roman army in Iberia. The Scipio brothers were aware of Hasdrubal's plan. Word of his decrees and preparations had reached them. They understood well what is at stake. If Hasdrubal were to link up with Hannibal in Italy, that would spell the end of Rome. But undefeated since disembarking in Iberia nearly 3 years ago, the Scipios enjoyed confidence of their troops and could count on the fighting spirit of their heavy infantry. They marched out of the camp and crossed the Ebro at Amposta, a town that defected to the Romans, then proceeded to attack Carthaginian allies.
Rome's just like, yeah, we'll face anything head on. Bring it. Bring it.
Unbelievable.
I know. It's the experience of veteran. Do you know what I mean? Like if you have veterans compared to rookies, like
this is how we did it back then. This is how we're doing it now.
Not even.
Moving upstream,
I've like been in so many battles and survived. And what are you gonna do to me? Like it's that arrogance, isn't it?
Yeah.
You get that arrogance after a while.
a small detachment stayed on the northern side of the river, while Gnaeus led the main body of the army along the southern bank. Publius commanded the fleet up the river to support operations on land.
Okay.
That's
okay.
smart.
Their main target was the city of Hibera, the wealthiest city in the region.
Ooh.
Strategically placed, it held a vital river crossing, and from its fluvial port, it controlled the traffic of the lower Ebro. The taking of Hibera and the scorching of the surrounding towns and countryside would significantly delay the enemy's projected march. But then, Hasdrubal's army appeared earlier than expected.
Okay.
Confident that Hibera can hold out behind its fortifications, he did not speed to the relief of his ally. Instead, he marched on Amposta. Situated at the mouth of the Ebro, the town was larger than other settlements in the vicinity and housed important grain silos. Its defenses, however, could not hold out as long as Hibera's. If
Interesting.
Amposta were to fall, the Roman army and fleet would not be able to prevent the reduction of their main camp. Worse, Hasdrubal would be able to cross the Ebro uncontested and position his army between the Romans and Tarraco, cutting their supply lines. For the Carthaginians, their objective was clear. To continue their march to Italy, they had to overrun Roman positions north of the Ebro. They needed a battle of annihilation.
They're going for
Thus, Hasdrubal clearly wanted to lure the Romans into a decisive encounter, and he succeeded. The Scipio brothers aborted the siege of Hibera and set out for Amposta. Besides aforementioned problems that the Romans might face, not challenging Hasdrubal would also hurt their prestige. Leaving a Roman ally to their fate would shake.
it. Comes back to that arrogance I was talking about, don't it?
Just going back to your town. "Ooh, look at you! Got a scratch on you."
The loyalty of other communities. The Scipios had to act.
Oh, they're in the river.
On a plain just south of the Ebro River, the two armies deployed for a set-piece battle.
An interesting setup.
Yeah.
The Romans deployed in their traditional formation, with velites in the front, 3 lines of infantry, flanked by the Italian allies and Iberian auxiliaries, who were in turn flanked by the cavalry. Hasdrubal placed the Iberian and Ligurian mercenary infantry in the center, flanked by the Punic and Libyan heavy infantry. Numidian light and contingents of Maori cavalry occupied the right wing, while the Iberian and Libyan Punic cavalry were on the left, with elephants behind both
I
wings.
thought they were elephants, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Being on the
Mimicals.
south side of the Ebro, Gnaeus had to advance. As long as the Carthaginians were present, it would have been very dangerous to attempt a river crossing, even with the aid of the Roman fleet. When the battle was joined, Hasdrubal pulled back the Iberian infantry. The Numidians and Maori harassed the Italian cavalry opposing them, causing chaos among their ranks. On the left wing, the Iberian and Libyan Punic horse proved superior to the Roman cavalry. Then, as planned, the Libyan and Punic heavy infantry struck the flanks. Like his older brother at Cannae had done the year prior,
Elephants.
Hasdrubal wanted to hold the Roman center until his cavalry swept the field of Roman mounted units, before regrouping to attack the enemy's rear to complete the envelopment. But, not keen on embarking on a journey to Italy far from their homes, the Iberian troops were in poor spirits. In stark contrast, the Romans knew that their return home depended on the outcome of the battle. They were ready to win or die. It wasn't long before the Iberians in the center lost heart. They broke and fled in the face of the advancing Roman infantry.
Shit.
Hasdrubal's plan fell apart. With his cavalry still engaged, only the Libyan and Punic infantry were now facing the Roman legions, and they were quickly pushed back. Seeing that the line collapsed, the Carthaginian cavalry wheeled about and retreated. Hasdrubal also escaped, crucially managing to take the treasury with him.
Hold on.
Locked in bitter fighting, most of the Libyan and Punic heavy infantry, the best and most loyal troops, perished, while the rest of the army marched away to safety.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you can't do anything in that situation. Half of you getting backed into a river, and the
Yeah.
other half is getting backed up to a mountain.
Yeah, mate.
And you've all just been shafted.
It's because your
the
main
guys don't
line
wanna
was
do a walk.
mercenaries as well. Your main line was mercenaries paid. Like, what do you expect?
That's disappointing.
Pete. It's because Hannibal weren't there.
Yeah.
Despite their victory, the Scipios did not follow up with a campaign of their own. Their finances were critical, and there was little prospect of reinforcements from Rome, due to heavy losses suffered in Italy. As experienced generals, the brothers knew that their position was precarious against the vast resources of Carthaginian Iberia. They
Smart
could not
boys.
risk their army in major encounters for the time being. But their victory pushed the Carthaginians out of the Ebro Valley. The wealthy city of Hibera surrendered to Rome, and with that came the usual hostage-taking, punitive payments, and the obligation to provide auxiliary troops.
Yeah, man.
The submission of Hibera meant that other important fortified Iberian towns in Illa Cavona, such as Intibili and Ildum, also surrendered to the Scipios. Now, the Romans could use the length of the Ebro to move troops and supplies, launch small-scale raids to destabilize Carthaginian rule in the area, and apply pressure on the tribes that lived along the river to join Rome.
Okay.
But most crucially, the The Scipios had not only prevented their own expulsion from Iberia, but also the doubling of Carthaginian forces in Italy, something which Rome would not have withstood. The impact of the Battle of Hibera would be far-reaching. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy our videos, click like and subscribe.
Always so good. What's some of these footnotes? Casualties at the Battle of Hibera are unclear. It is likely that much of the Carthaginian heavy infantry, up to 5,000, were killed.
Ah, Jesus.
The victory of the Scipios not only prevented Hasdrubal from reaching Italy, but would cause a chain reaction as all reinforcements would divert to Iberia.
Subscribe as a sacrifice to the gods of the algorithm.
That's mad to think, like,
yeah, man.
If that push would have succeeded,
yeah,
they wouldn't have been able to withstand Rome. But the journey there,
yeah, would they have been? Yeah. Would they have been able to get the like? Was it just Hannibal? Was it just Hannibal who was able to make that journey?
And it might have been for the weather as well, depending on what time of the season.
Yeah.
That's mad. I'm looking forward to the next one already.
I am as well, definitely. If you guys are looking forward to our reaction to the next reaction, you know what I'm talking about. You know what to do. You need to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. But we will catch you in the next video.
See you in the next one.